want to tell you something.
Closer.
Yeah, a little bit closer.
Hi.
Hi.
Ow! 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 Ow!
Don't you ever with me and alcohol. Got it?
Oh, you got a problem with that, nerd? I'll throw a fireball in your face, because I'm a wizard.
So they were able to get him to the hospital in time.
Yes, he's in the intensive care ward at Our Lady of the Worthless Nerve.
Oh, we've discussed this. Mornings are for coffee and contemplation.
A! Why can't we be Universe A?
Yeah! We called it first. Besides, this place kind of feels like a bee, you know?
You have my sister. If not, would you like a margarita?
Yeah, and when I see freaks in the street, I never, ever stare at them. And yet I'm careful not to look away, see, because I want to make the freaks feel comfortable.
There's no crying! There's no crying in baseball!
You're listening to Comic Can Coozie, your weekly podcast for all your geeky garbage, kitschy comedy, and nerdy news. I'm Cole.
And I am Adam.
Okay, so Adam, we were just talking. You were talking about selling stuff online, and I was like, this isn't stuff that you just bought and you're gonna like try to sell.
Well, I mean, I bought it. I bought it at a rummage sale, like one of the best rummage sales I've ever been to.
So this is more interesting to me than when you do stuff from the Ugly Box store. You found stuff people actually used.
Yeah, well, kind of, sure. I mean, I think the sale I went to was like a collector.
Okay, so he was, from what you've been saying so far, you haven't told me much about it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a toy collector.
Yeah, a guy who collected basically just action figures.
Okay.
So he had a bunch of like loose ones.
Okay.
Like bags of loose ones.
So people who aren't total fucking nerds like me and Adam and Elijah and Taylor, loose means that he bought them and actually took them out of the box and played with them.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. Or displayed them or however.
Something like that.
But I have the way he had a bunch of other things. It looked like he had the same ones that were loose also in box.
So he bought two of them, one for collecting and one for actually using.
Or three, because he said, I was like, hey, do you have any more? And he's like, yeah, I do, but that's for my personal collection.
Oh, okay, all right.
These are doubles or things that I'm not that interested in. I'm willing to part with. And he was selling them just cheap.
Okay.
So I got a bunch of loose figures from wrestling.
And how old would you think the wrestling figures are?
The wrestling ones, I would say from 2010 forward, probably.
So
none of like the super classic
more
ones.
Recent, not anything you could still find in stores, but more recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I got one that was pretty interesting. That was like a zombie version of, what was it, Sasha Banks.
So that's not very old, actually. That's less than 5 years old.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I don't pay attention to the wrestling ones. If I saw Andre the Giant and stuff, I'd be excited about it.
Okay.
But
if you have any Kevin Owens ones, I'll show you a picture of this guy later.
Okay.
I might just pay you straight up for it and give it to Taylor for Christmas.
Okay. I'll just show you the ones I have later. But the best figures that I got there that have had like the quickest turnaround for my selling online.
Okay.
I bought 3 figures for $3 each that were Police Academy action figures.
From the movie?
These,
I mean, I'm not surprised they made action figures, but I am surprised anyone would want them.
This is an 80s one, and they look like they're animated, like an animated series. So I don't know.
Okay.
They must have done a brief Police Academy animated show, or they just made these and made it look like they had an animated series and just made these toys.
All right.
Just for fun. Whatever. So I put one on, and eBay's like, suggested starting price. And I was like, okay. $180 was the suggested starting price.
Whoa.
I listed it for $180. I got an offer for $150, and I said sold.
Yeah, exactly. I would take it too.
Yeah, that was like within
for $3. You
for
bought that
$3. Yeah, I flipped it and I shipped it off to Australia.
I almost feel bad for the guy who sold it to you if he bought all that shit.
Well, I just wonder what else he had in his collection.
Yeah.
And I bought a few bags of loose figures of like some of these same ones, and I listed them for $1, and no one's biting on them.
Okay.
Just they want the packaged
But
ones.
I would assume that at that rummage sale, you spent less than $150.
Oh, definitely.
So you made your money back off of one figure.
Off of one figure, I probably spent $50 there on figures and a bunch of bags of loose figures.
That's actually interesting because, like I said, when you just go to the Ugly Box store and you buy something that's in a package that's kind of almost readily available, and you're like, I spent $5 on it and I got like 20 back. I don't care.
It's not as fun when it's like, because I buy like pills and stuff and I ship them, I sell them online, and
You're
I make
a drug dealer,
kind
online
of
drug dealer.
Yeah, an online dealer. And some of them I've had, they turned out to be fakes. Like those toothbrushes, and then there was some like skin cream that, yep, you still have them for your next toothbrush. And then some skin cream stuff that looked identical, looked super legit, but it was not. And I got booted. Well, that listing got booted. I didn't get personally booted, not yet. Hopefully they don't start flagging me because some of these things are turning out to be fakes, because I don't know that.
Yeah.
I'm just going off with, I got this and I'm going to try to sell it. And it turns out to be fake. I guess I'm protected. At first I was getting mad because I was like, I got a bid on this thing. And then they're like, no, you can't sell it. This is fake. And I'm like, damn it.
Well,
whatever. But the action figures are fun.
That's cool.
I got Star Wars ones, a bunch of loose Marvel ones.
All right. You should see if Elijah will pay you for those.
I called him up right away to have him look through them, and he wasn't impressed with any of them.
Oh, okay.
There's maybe one guy that he's like, yeah, this guy maybe you'll get some money for. And the rest are just, it must be common or something, or not that impressive of figures. So who cares? Whatever. But it's fun. I'm flipping some stuff quickly, and I like to get those surprises where I'm like, I don't know anything about this, and bam, it sells for a ton of money because there's some nerd in Australia who wants it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I made this plum jelly last week, and it actually somewhat turned out. And I got some sitting right in front of Adam right now.
It's on a spoon.
It's on a
plate.
spoon. Yeah, I picked the wild plums.
It's a nice pink, almost like maybe not quite salmon, maybe a salmon color.
It actually looks like ahi tuna.
Yeah, there you go.
Like a seared ahi. Like,
it does.
Just not fully cooked, just seared.
Yeah. Would you like to sample my tuna? And then, okay. All right, here I go.
That was a huge amount of jelly, too.
It's thick.
That was like a Jolly Rancher sized amount.
All right.
And with no bread or anything.
Yeah.
I think people are going to appreciate the noises you're making with your mouth directly into the microphone.
That's how you get the good taste.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I don't think I've ever had a plum jelly before, actually.
Yeah. I didn't put jalapenos in it like I was kind of planning on because I wasn't sure. I couldn't find a recipe that would tell me how, like, what point to put them in.
Oh, I think maybe if you just didn't put... You were going to, like, cut up jalapenos?
Yeah. Little, tiny little diced up jalapenos.
I think you could have just put it in at any point. I suppose make the plum jelly as it's starting to cool. Toss in the diced jalapenos and then whatever.
Yeah.
Because I could see that with jalapenos. It would be like a really delicious...
sweet and heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be good. I think it's good. Good job.
The only thing that I was kind of disappointed in with myself was I went to Cashwise to pick up some pectin. They didn't have pectin, so I just settled for gelatin for like making unflavored Jello.
Yeah, it's.
I don't think it affects the flavor. I just think it made it a little too thick. So it's kind of like spreading it on. You could spread it on toast, fine. You could spread it on a bagel, fine. You can't spread it on untoasted bread. You'll probably rip right through the bread.
Yeah, you just need something that has a tougher texture.
Yeah, if you tried to dip a cracker into it, you'd have to smear it with a knife on a cracker. You couldn't dip the cracker. You'd snap the cracker in half.
Well, and I mean, maybe that's just because the Jello or the part in there rather than the pectin.
Yeah, so I mean, whatever.
The flavor's there. It tastes right, and the texture is pretty darn close. It is just a little thicker than a jelly would normally be.
Yeah.
Tastes good, though.
And my brother was talking to my uncle who makes a lot of jellies and stuff, and he said, yeah, basically the one part where people kind of mess up with jellies is the pectin. If you overcook it, it kind of screws you.
Yeah. Well, whatever. It's a new hobby for you, and you're learning, so.
Yeah. Speaking of eating, did you hear about the COO of Beyond Meat?
Oh! I heard a little bit about this.
Guy's name is Doug Ramsey.
Ramsey, that's right. We heard a little bit about this on the radio, and I was like, Shannon's like, did they just say Gordon Ramsay? And I was like, no. This is like the CEO or whatever of Beyond Meat. She's
so
like,
you know
okay.
this story, but for the people who haven't heard it, which I'm sure almost everyone's probably heard this.
Maybe, I don't know.
So he got suspended from Beyond Meat, from being the chief operating officer of Beyond Meat after he was arrested because he was at an Arkansas Razorbacks football game.
Yep.
And he was leaving, and some dude bumped his tire with the other dude's car. Yep. So he got out of his car and punched the other dude's back window in. And then when the guy got out, he started punching the guy in the face and bit off the tip of his nose.
That's what happens when you don't eat meat.
Yeah.
You want human
You
flesh.
really want it. That's the secret to Beyond Meat. It's made out of people.
I just can't eat. Hey.
What is that movie? Soylent Green.
It's not horse.
Beyond Meat is just Soylent Green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I just don't get it. Like, why your instinct would be to like bite someone's nose.
Well, I mean, and it wasn't even like the major like expensive parts of his car that got hit. It was his tire.
Yeah. It sounds.
And then he just freaked out, punching windows and going all Hulk smash and
I just want to see
biting
a
people.
picture of the guy and see if he's like shredded or something, and see if he's just on
Of this
steroids
Doug
or something. Yeah.
No, he just looks like he looks like a fucking maniac.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
He just looks like a dude who maybe did bath salts or something.
Maybe that was it. He's on some heavy drugs and he wants to bite off noses.
Yeah.
And I mean, did he actually like punch out a whole window?
Yeah, the back window.
He does kind of look like an angry guy.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that is a picture of him get in a police lineup.
I've never tried to punch a car window, but I have a feeling it would be kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
So
unless it was partially rolled down, if it's
or
rolled
already
all the way
cracked
up
or something, then you could follow the crack and maybe get it going. But if it's solid,
I don't think it was like the back windshield. I think it was like one of the side.
Either way,
Yeah.
that seems hard. I've seen people like try to hit it with hammers and things on like news blooper reels, and they're like, it won't break, and they keep hitting it and throwing rocks at it. They're like, it's as easy as this, and the hammer bounces off. Like, damn it! All right, try something harder, and they keep trying, and it won't break. And this guy just goes and punches it.
See,
Remember
that's
that Karate
why.
Kid?
That's why I think like if it's partially rolled down, it's not sealed.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
But if it's rolled all the way up and there's like a seal on it,
Yeah.
I think that it'd be much harder.
You're right, because if it's down, then there's a little more flex in it,
Yeah.
and it'll push in. Whatever. Either way, the guy's crazy, and he's a nose biter.
He's a nose biter.
Ugh.
I'll bet that was on his kindergarten report card.
I mean,
He's a little bit crazy and he's a nose biter.
and what did they just suspended him?
Yeah,
Is that-
I mean, you have to suspend them until the police investigation comes through, and then you can fire them. That's how it is with most of those companies.
Are they going to fire him?
Probably.
We'll see.
I mean, he's making their company look bad.
That's true.
Everyone in the country has done our stupid joke of that's what happens when you don't eat meat.
Yeah, well, it's the most go-to joke.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, it's easy.
I mean, seriously, it is.
Yeah, when you're going for meat, a bite of meat, and you don't eat meat. He looks like a meat eater, though.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like he believes in his product.
No. I got
whatever.
got a text the other day. I went to bed at 6 a.m. Get a text at 7:30 in the morning.
You're talking about just like recently here?
Like on like Thursday.
Okay.
And it's my ex-girlfriend's phone, but it's not her. It's her kid.
Oh, okay.
And he goes, I missed the bus. Can you please give me a ride to school? So I look at it and I'm like, ugh. And text back, give me 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So get dressed, and I run over there. Go knock on the door. I was like, "Does your mom got coffee made?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Give me one of her cups and fill it with coffee." So we get it. He gets into my car. I'm drinking this lukewarm coffee. I still have her cup. I need to get that back to her at some point. But so I'm catching up with him. Like, how you been and all this.
Yeah.
I go, so how'd your license test go? Not the permit test, not the written part, but the actual driving test.
Yeah.
He goes,
well, obviously not good.
well, I mean,
You're taking him to school.
if he had passed it, I don't think she could afford to have a second vehicle.
Oh, I got you. All right.
So he goes, I failed. And so I'm trying to be a nice guy.
Yeah.
So I lie to him and I say, well, everyone fails the first time.
Uh-huh.
Which no one fails the actual driving portion the first time, right?
I failed the first time.
And the written one, not the driving.
Oh, the driving one.
Really?
They failed me. The guy said I was...
What, are you slow?
The guy said I was speeding on the Capitol, like right away when we left.
Oh, okay.
He said I was speeding, and he's like, you failed right away.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, well, why did you make me do the whole test then? You could have just told me I failed. I would have taken you back.
Practice.
But this guy was a bugger because I was the last drive-in thing of the day.
Uh-huh.
And it was like 4:30. I was sitting there, and the guy didn't come out until after 5, and their office was closed. And he came out the door, and I was like, hey, I'm still waiting for my driver's test. And he went, ugh.
You got to do a driver test during rush hour, too.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he's like, I thought he was going home. So he just was like pissed off at me for no reason to start with. And I was not speeding on the Capitol, at the Capitol.
Oh, excuses.
He just effed me. Whatever. So I failed. I thought I passed with flying colors, so I went back in like a week and everything was fine. I had a much nicer lady, and I did the exact same thing I did on the first one.
Except for
obeyed all traffic laws
this time. No, so
everybody does fail it, including me.
No,
the first time.
I've only met 2 people that have failed it, you and Brandon. So I told him to be nice. I say, well, everyone
he's in
fails.
my club.
Everyone fails the first time, and then he's kind of quiet for a little bit, and then he goes, I hit a car. And I started laughing. So being nice, trying to save his feelings, went right out the window. I was laughing like you.
Yeah,
I couldn't even ask him how. I assume it was during parallel parking.
I hope it sounds pull it out of the lot.
It sounds like there was like no damage or whatever. So I assume it was during parallel parking.
Sure,
but I laughed in his presence. I laughed as hard as you did.
Yeah, he's got to find the humor in it. I would hope too. At some point in the future, he will, but maybe not right now. Might be a little sensitive to it. Oh well, whatever.
Yeah,
that is really funny. I think both times that I took the test, but the parallel parking part did not have a car behind. It was just pull up next to this car and then do the backup and park as if there was a car back there. But I had plenty of room, so I wasn't going to hit anyone. So that mine was pretty darn easy. Do you remember yours? Did you have 2 cars, or was it?
I did. Okay, here's the first thing. In Bismarck, parallel parking only happens around Main Street. In that area.
Only where
in the
you
downtown
really have
area.
To. Otherwise, you can snake in most times.
Every other place in this town, there's no need to know parallel parking except for in downtown. Well, this guy didn't have me do my parallel parking in downtown. He had me do it up on 5th Street.
Yeah, that's where I did it. Yeah, on the way back to the Capitol area.
There were 2 cars. There was one ahead of me and one behind me. But the one behind me is further back. That was a little further back, than it would be in a real life situation.
Yeah, okay.
Like I could have just snaked right in and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
It was, instead of being normally when you're parallel parking, there's just enough room for your car.
Yeah.
It would have been there was enough room for my car and then half another of my car. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So plenty of room.
I had emergency stop area if I needed it.
Gun it. Yeah. Well, you'll have to question Brandon in the fucher here.
Yeah.
And see what exactly happened further on. But that's good. I was just thinking, I had a road rage incident or a person against me just a few days ago.
They were mad at you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why? I don't know. I had just dropped Logan.
It's got to
off.
be the face.
Well, it must be.
Yeah.
So punchable. I had just dropped Logan off at school, like heading back home. And this guy just, I noticed suddenly I'm just driving along. And this guy gets up right on my ass. And I noticed that he clicks his brights on. So they're just like shining through my rear view mirror.
When you drop him off at school, it's still dark enough where people are using their lights.
Yeah, it's still morning. It's like 7:30, 7:45 or whatever.
All right.
So now it's, sun's coming up, or sometimes it's up. It's probably a little cloudy or whatever that day. So anyway, the guy gets on my ass, kicks on his brights, and I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing? He zooms past me and gets in front of me, and then there's like hauls ass, and tries to get like super far in front of me. I'm like, okay, what was that all about? So I just keep going. I don't freak out. I'm just like, okay, continue along. And then I get behind him because he caught up with the traffic. So I thought maybe I was just going too slow or something for him. Okay. So I get behind him, and then suddenly I see him. He gets his cell phone out, and he starts like filming me through his like rear view mirror. And I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing? He turns off. I happen to be turning the same way. I follow him, and he keeps like filming me. And then he's like putting his phone out his window and like trying to film me.
All right.
And I'm like, what the hell is going on? I keep following because he keeps turning in the same
to the
direction.
places where you want it to
where
turn.
I'm going. Suddenly he like pulls over to the side of the road. And I was like, why is he pulling over? I was like, is there an emergency vehicle coming? And I started pulling. I was like, no, there's nothing coming, because I was going to pull behind him.
Oh,
and
I
was
glad
like,
you didn't.
Yeah, I didn't, because I was like, this guy's nuts. No. So I just kept going. And then he was like, followed me with his cell phone and stuff. And I was like, what is going on here? I couldn't tell what the hell I did wrong, other than the only thing I can think of is maybe I went too slow. But I was like, am I caught in a case of like false identity here, where like he got cut off by someone somewhere back the way that looks like my vehicle, and he just drove up and thought it was me or something?
Were you driving what you're driving right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty nondescript vehicle.
Yeah.
It looks like a million other vehicles.
Exactly. Same body
And it's
shapes.
it's
gray,
a color that
silver.
could be gray or black or blue, depending on the time, the lighting in the morning.
But I just couldn't figure it out. And the guy with his fucking cell phone, like, filming me like I'm doing something wrong when it's him driving like crazy. Very strange.
Yeah.
But I kept looking, like, on Facebook, they have Bismarck people reporting news. So later on, I was checking to see if, like, he put a video of me or something, going like, oh, like, look at this guy, he's freaking nuts. He followed me all the way across town.
Yeah, that's
whatever.
weird.
Nuts. I just assumed drugs or something.
Maybe. Speaking of people that are fucked up.
Yeah.
I went over, it was our friend Alex's birthday the other night on Saturday. So I got off work like fairly early.
Yeah.
I was able to meet them over at Lucky's, right? And Lucky's had a really weird vibe on Saturday. Like, sometimes you go there and everything's chill. And sometimes you go there and, like, there's a couple of people being, like, a little dramatic.
Yeah.
On Saturday, it kind of seemed like people were fucking nuts. Like, I don't know. It was just, everything was off. There was a dude that looked like a really ugly Iggy Pop over there. Like, he looked all fucking stupid.
Iggy Pop isn't the most handsome guy either, though.
No, but this guy looked worse.
Okay.
And, like, he looked like he had done a lot of fucking heroin or whatever it was that kept Iggy all skinny forever.
Yeah.
He had that weird ass skin, that stretchy,
Sure.
That guy wasn't so bad, but he was just kind of odd. Just kept on walking by us and shit. And there was these douchebags in the corner all talking about Brett Favre fucking screwing those kids out of money and shit.
Okay.
I assume a lot of people who are sports fans were talking about that, but they just seem to want to be heard by everybody and shit.
They wanted a group discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was this dude walking around the bar with a cat. And so Shay and Nat and Alex looked at him and they're like, oh, that guy's got a cat. And I'm like thinking, this dude's got to suck. Like, this guy brought a cat into a bar probably because he doesn't have a personality, but he wants to talk to people.
Yeah, makes sense.
And he is just moving from one group of people and talking to them for a little bit, onto another group of people and talk to them, right? And just, kept on doing that throughout the night. And then he finally makes his way over towards us, and he's got this bar cat, with him. And Natalie's
a sexual joke.
No,
Come on.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Natalie asks him, "What's the cat's name?" And he says, "Felco." But Natalie mishears him, and she goes, "Fucko? The cat's name is Fucko?" No, Felco.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah. So they talk to the guy for a little bit. He's got a Front Street Lighting shirt on. And Natalie goes, "Well, we do a lot of business with them. Do you work there?" He's like, "No, I got fired for drinking too much." And
but I'm still endorsing them.
Yeah, whatever. So he fucks off after a while. We go play a game of pool, and the plan is we're going to leave. We're going to go to, the vibe was just so weird over at Lucky's. So we're like, we're going to get the fuck out of here and go over to Our Place Tavern.
Yeah.
But there, there's a liquor store next to Lucky's. So I was going to, before we left, I was going to walk over, pick up some beers.
Yeah.
And then we were going to go to Our Place Tavern, right?
Okay.
So me and Alex walk outside, and the guy, the bar cat guy, is lying on the ground.
Okay.
And I'm like, what the fuck? And then I look at him. He's bleeding out of his head.
Oh, jeez.
I'm like, Jesus, dude. I was like, are you okay? You're fucking bleeding. He's like, yeah, I'm fine. And he tries, and the cat's on, the cat was on the ground too. He has the cat by a leash. I assume he fell over and dropped the cat, but he's still holding on the leash, so the cat didn't run away.
Sure.
So he scoops the cat up, starts trying to walk, and then he's all over the place. And I grab him and by the back of the shirt, and because he's gonna fall over again, and I kind of guide him over to a rail so he can hold on to the rail. He's got one arm around the cat and one on.
Yeah.
And he kept on trying to walk off, and there's two girls, they're nurses, they're outside, and me and the two girls convince him, hey, sit down, the nurses are gonna patch you up, and then maybe you can think about walking home.
Yeah.
So they patch him up and shit. And then I got tired of being out there. So I went over to the liquor store and I asked the guys over at the liquor store, I go, what the fuck is going on over there? And they're like, what are you talking about? I was like, weird vibes, all this shit, some dickhead with a cat. And they're like, oh, that guy fucking falls over all the time. Oh. They're like, he drinks a 1.75 of hard alcohol every day.
Oh,
they're like, he fucking sucks. It's like, yeah, you didn't see, They go, the last time he fell down, he was riding one of those bird scooters.
Oh, jeez.
And he fell off of that, and he hurt himself.
Did he
kind
have
of
his
badly.
cat too?
No, I don't think he had his cat that time. They didn't say he had. They did know the cat. They're like, what, a big, dumb, fat, ugly cat?
Yeah, his name's Fucko.
Yeah. I don't think the cat was actually ugly. I think those two just disliked this guy so much that they saw the cat and instantly disliked it too.
It spreads onto the cat.
Yeah. Just little friendly fire.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I don't know. Don't bring your fucking pets into a bar if you don't have a personality. Don't try to use it to make up for your personality.
I've seen more and more animals in stores lately, as in the last year, maybe more. Just more and more.
Well, people get these notes from their doctors. They're like, oh, it's a companion animal. See, you as a business don't have to recognize those notes. They have federal papers that you do. Like, if they show you federal papers, you have to recognize those.
Sure.
But if it's just a note from their doctor or some dumb bullshit like that, you don't have to recognize it.
I figure you can use that note for your apartment that says you can't have an animal, and you say, I got a note from my doctor that this is my therapy animal and I need it around,
and I don't believe
whatever,
I don't believe that those apartments actually have to recognize that either.
I probably
you
not.
need federal papers for
that. Just I see them all the time, and some of these animals are just poorly trained.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
say,
and that's
good for you if you need this animal, but if it can't be in public properly, you don't you don't need a dog that's trying to jump on people all the time. That is not a well-trained dog. No one wants that.
Well, here I want the person that I'm talking about. Her name is Chantel.
Yeah.
So she actually fosters dogs and trains them.
Yeah. Okay.
So that people can. So the little while back, I ran into her. She had brought her dog because it's a neighborhood bar, like very small, very dead all the time.
Yeah.
She brought it over to our OPT. Just to familiarize it with other people.
Sure.
And like let people so this dog is very well trained. It'll sit, shake, speak, do all that on command, and like it won't freak out around people. She kind of brings it in for a short amount of time and then takes it out of there. Just it's just part of her training.
Yeah.
Yeah,
get a little noisier environment maybe, or a few more people around.
Yeah. But it's not like hey, this is my conversation starter. I want to sit here and speak with you all night because I have no personality and no friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I can understand that.
Yeah.
But if you're just bringing in fucking random cat just because you don't know how to start a conversation with people, it's kind of pathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a cooler animal anyway, like a bat.
A bat.
On a string.
It's COVID times, dude. You can't make that joke.
It sits on your shoulder. I thought it was like that pangolin that you had to worry about. That was what's supposed to spread.
Pangolin?
Pangolin. Wasn't that where they claimed COVID came from? The pangolin.
I don't know what those are.
It looks like
it's
armadillo
a familiar
or
word.
something. It sounds like penguin.
Yeah,
but it's a
it's a
pangolin.
familiar word, but I don't know what the animal is.
Oh, like I said, I think it looks like I'll say like an aardvark or an anteater or armadillo kind of. I think it's an Asian armadillo.
Oh, I found them.
Oh, you found it right away.
Oh, they're actually really cool looking. They look like statues. Like, I mean, in a video when they're actually moving, I bet they don't look like. They look like those one dinosaurs with the big fucking rock on the end of their tail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. They're cool looking.
I don't know my dinosaur names anymore. I remember like
Stegosaurus. It looks like a stegosaurus.
Stegosaurus is the first one I was going to say. That's the one with the rock on the tail?
I think so.
I don't think so.
No. That's the one with the spikes.
Yeah. And then there's the Triceratops.
Yeah.
And is there just a Ceratops?
I don't know.
Because Triceratops has the three.
Yeah.
Like a rhinoceros.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever.
Let's take a break.
Okay.
So Adam brought me a bunch of tomatoes and apples.
And apples, yes.
Over today, which was really nice of him. And then we were talking about it, and I was like, well, I got all these tomatoes. When I go to the store later tonight, I got to get lettuce so I can make BLTs. He goes, oh, I thought you were going to say you needed bacon. I could have brought you over bacon.
Yeah.
And then we both agreed that if he had brought me bacon, that would have been a better gift.
I would have been.
Than tomatoes and apples.
Well, I've been buying like bacon I go to like Cloverdale and I spend $90 on this big case of bacon.
Yeah.
And it turns out to be like $2 a pound or something.
Really?
Rather than going to the grocery store where they charge like
4 to 6.
Yeah. And it just insane.
Yeah,
So,
and like when it's 4, it's the just regular plain old bacon from like the store brand, and it's like it's the fattiest cut.
Yeah.
Like where more of it's going to shrivel up than isn't going to shrivel up.
Yeah.
Which is I still buy it. And use
it
it.
still tastes delicious.
Yeah, it's still delicious, but
you want a little bit of actual meat and not just slabs of fat.
Yeah, I mean, I do my favorite part of a steak. I always get the fattiest cuts of steak I can.
Yeah,
but
I eat the hell out of the fat and steak. I won't cut any of that shit off.
What's funny is whenever I grill with Elijah, like anytime, like we're at the store, he's like, "Well, what are you getting?" I'll be like, "A ribeye." He's like, "Oh, I'll get a ribeye too." Which is like, dude, you should get a New York strip because you don't like fat. So what happens is he'll get a ribeye and he'll wind up cutting about half of it off, giving it to me.
Yeah, that's what he does. Last time I met him when he was camping, he just cut off the fat. He's like, "Here you go."
But like, I'm not gonna correct him. I'm not gonna tell him, "Hey, you should get a New York strip."
No.
Let him figure it out.
Hey, I mean, the fat in there helps flavor the rest of the meat in the steak that he is eating, I think.
Yeah.
Except
for if he's doing it on the grill, the fat
then
drips
it's
through
dripping
the
down
grill.
and just burning the hell out of it.
Yeah, if he's doing it in a pan, that
Oh, yeah.
stays in the fan. in the pan.
Yeah, I think the best steak. I think it's fine on the grill, but I prefer in like a cast iron.
Yeah.
Sear it.
A lot of people do.
Take that cast iron and throw it in the oven and let it cook a little bit longer in the oven and then take it out. Perfect.
Yeah, a lot of people prefer it like that. I prefer the grill just because I like to be outside.
Well, sure.
But in the winter, I'll definitely
if you're not
sear
going
a steak and bake
hassle
it.
with the grill in the winter. I mean, there's some hardcore people who will, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, I don't think I would be either.
Yeah, I saw a movie.
What was the movie?
It was called The Black Phone.
Oh,
starring Ethan Hawke.
Okay.
As a villain. He's like a child abductor / murderer of children.
All right.
And so this kid gets abducted.
Sounds like a heartwarming movie.
Yeah. It ends nicely. There was a bunch of kids get abducted and murdered, and then this final kid gets taken and locked in a basement, and the ghosts of the other children who are in there call him on this black phone.
Oh, okay.
And so they're speaking to him from the ghost universe because the phone is like disconnected from the wall. But
okay.
These kids make it ring, and he talks to him, and they tell him like, "Hey, here's what you can try to do. Here's how you can."
Yeah, because it worked out so well for you, Ghosty.
Yeah, well, they figure like, well, we did this, we made it this far. I tried this, I know this part, and so they give them details.
Okay.
Each one of them gives them a little more
piece of the puzzle,
to help them escape.
All right.
And whatever. Yeah, I thought it was worth the watch. I thought it was actually pretty good. Watched it with Logan and Shannon, and then they all liked it too. So I think it's on streaming on Peacock. I don't know. I think it was in the theater for a brief stint, but it's on right. Peacock now, and it's. I recommend it. I think it's worth a watch, but I recommend most movies, so
so take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I suppose so. But Ethan Hawke, good,
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, sounds cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
I was going to tell you, I know you don't like sports, but this is an interesting story.
Well, I'll try to stay engaged.
Okay, so the UFC just signed, they have the actual UFC, but then they also have something called Dana White's Contender Series.
But Dana White is in charge of the UFC.
So if you're on the Contender Series, it's kind of like a tryout if you do good enough. It's not like the Ultimate Fighter. These fights... There's no reality show based around it. They're actual fights that go on your professional record, whereas on the Ultimate Fighter, they go on an exhibition record.
Okay.
They just pick a couple of guys that seem like they would match up well, and if you win your fight, you have a shot at getting signed into the UFC.
Wait, this is that Ultimate Fighter show you're talking about?
Or no,
this
the Ultimate Fighter is the reality show.
Okay, this is the other one.
This is a tryout show, basically,
it
with
is a
fights on it.
TV show?
Yeah.
A series or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like one step below the Ultimate Fighter, kind of. It's like a feeder league, sort of.
Okay.
So he'll watch these fights between guys who are like coming up, but they're not quite, like at the UFC level, but they're already professional fighters. They're coming up. They're getting a couple of fights out of the way,
These are guys who would like play or do a fight at like a local hotel.
Yeah, or on the reservation, like they have up over in Newtown.
Okay, so he'll go to these venues and watch the fights. Okay.
Yeah, I think he goes to the venues. I'm not sure if
he doesn't call them and have them go.
No,
to
I don't believe so.
gym
But
or
I've
whatever.
never actually really watched the actual show. I've just seen fights on YouTube.
Okay,
Some
I
of the
gotcha.
So he has this this kid, Raul. I'm going to say this wrong.
Yeah.
Raul Rosas Jr. is a 17-year-old kid.
All right.
Fights on this show, on this Contender Series, and Dana sees the fight, and he's like, okay, I got to sign this kid. So he signed the kid to the UFC.
Is there a junior, meaning like if you're under 18, like a junior series?
They had to get permission from his parents for him to fight
adults
at this venue. Yeah, and this was the kid's fourth fight, so he's already fought 4 times.
Yeah, okay.
But they got permission from his parents. He Well, the athletic commission did.
Yeah.
Dana himself didn't like talk to the parents or nothing.
Sure.
But
They got to sign a waiver.
Yeah.
You know, something
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
hey, if he gets the shit beat out of him, which you already know could happen.
It
'cause
could
he's-
happen.
He's in this, but
Yeah.
we're not responsible.
Well, the kid wins by a submission
Okay.
and beat up a 26-year-old dude.
Okay.
Dana signed him. He's the youngest guy to get signed to the UFC. He's not the youngest guy to fight in the UFC.
Really?
If he fights in the next like 210 days or something like that, then he'll be the youngest guy to fight in the UFC.
Oh, that 210 days until he turns 18 or something?
Well, the other guy who fought was 18 years old and like 50 days or something.
Okay.
So this kid could fight while he's still 17, or he could fight when he's 18 and a certain amount of days under this other guy.
All right. That's interesting.
So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, because I assumed that all UFC related stuff was technically adults, 18 and up,
Yeah.
So that's very interesting about a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
Which is damn close to 18, whatever, but still legally a minor then, fighting adults.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty impressive. And then on that same show, some guy got kicked in the dick.
Okay.
And there was this reporter who was awesome. Right. He even did ask Dana, he's like, so did you have to go get permission from this guy's parents? Right? Dana's like, I personally didn't have to, well, this reporter guy goes, earlier when, so-and-so, let's just say his name is Adam.
Yeah.
Adam got kicked in the dick. It looked like you were laughing. Dana's like, I wasn't laughing. He goes, if I was laughing, it was about something else, not that guy. The reporter goes, well, can I ask you this? Is guys getting kicked in the dick funny?
And his response was, next question.
Dana's like, any guy who's ever had it happen to them knows that it's not fun, right? But the reporter it's like, finally, someone's actually doing their job, but also being entertaining
hitting
while
the
doing it.
hard-hitting questions.
Yeah.
I mean, like
at least he's actually being entertaining while he's doing his job.
I think if you see someone getting punched, kicked in their genitals, your natural reaction is to go, oh,
but their second
some little laugh is there. Whether or not you intended it to be there, you're feeling it when you see it, and your laugh comes out.
Your first reaction as a dude is, oh, but immediately after it's like, better you than me.
Exactly. Because you're like, I've been there kind of close, I've had stuff happen down there. That hurts. So, that's an interesting story. All right. I guess that kept me engaged. I didn't tune out. I'm sure Taylor might have chimed in more about it, but he knows more about that stuff than I do.
He didn't know very much more about that stuff than you do.
Maybe a little more. I don't know.
Yeah. So
he only knows about cricket.
What do you got going on this week?
This week, oh boy, this has been a yard cleanup week.
Yeah.
Kind of trying to get prepared for what's to come, meaning like winter
and stuff.
So we bought like 30 bags of mulch and we redid a thing in our front yard.
Okay.
And I cut we have like this border of rocks that kind of made a flower bed in the front yard. And there's this border of rocks, grass, and then this walkway. And I always got annoyed mowing that tiny little strip of grass along the rocks in between the walkway. So I said, screw it. We're getting rid of this grass. And I moved the little rock thing against the cement walkway.
All right.
And then we put some cardboard down on there to just kill off the grass. And then we dumped a bunch of mulch on top of that to look pretty.
All right.
So that was, one of the projects. And then, I got to close down the pool, so I got some repairs for that and mow again, and I'm sure mow probably like 5 more times anyway, but whatever. So that's kind of been my plan here. But I might go on a date with my mom tomorrow to the casino.
All right.
We'll see.
Okay.
What do you got going?
I'm going cold weather camping with Elijah.
That's right. This that's coming up here, and I think when you're planning on going, I don't think the weather at night it'll be chilly, but during the day I think it's supposed to be in the 60s. Still.
Elijah's been keeping track of that, and I talked to him yesterday. He says the first day should be 72 degrees at the high.
Yeah.
And the second day it'll be 69 degrees at the high. But he says, it has been changing daily. He goes, one day it'll be 78, the next day it'll be 72. He goes, it's just a general estimate that the first day will be in the 70s, the second day it will be in the high 60s.
Yeah, I think just you're kind of guaranteed, though, once it gets dark.
Yeah.
You're probably going to hit 50s, 40s.
I believe it'll be about 46 degrees at nighttime.
Yeah. So there's your colder weather part of the camping. You're not getting too chilly, but it should actually be comfortable at night, because I get like crazy hot in sleeping bags. So I think a little cooler outside would feel good.
Mm-hmm. The harder part of this is planning what we're going to eat.
Sure.
We always just bring too much food.
You could bring maybe some apples.
Yeah,
and tomatoes.
Yeah.
Check that off your list.
Yeah. No, the hardest part is normally planning what we're going to eat, because we always bring too much food. Plus, like, we kind of have to accommodate for Nancy because she's a vegetarian. So, like, he's like, well, what should we have for breakfast on this day? I'm like, beans on toast. He's like, beans on toast. I was like, yeah, what the British eat, they just make some toast and they put some beans on it.
Yeah.
I was like, but let's make it the American way with, like, beans that aren't in tomato sauce.
Okay.
Because I don't like, I think the official British way is Hunt's beans in tomato sauce. Okay. I don't like the tomato sauce. I want the brown sugar.
Yeah.
Right. And now I got to go. Well, I already bought it, but I had to go find like beans that are in the brown sugar but don't have bacon in them.
Yeah.
So it took a little bit, but I found it. And so, the nice thing about that is it's in the morning when it's still cold. It's a lot of protein. And it's a lot, it's going to be a hot meal right in the morning. Should, keep a lot of energy in you until lunchtime and stuff. But
do you remember in Boy Scouts making... we called it hobo something.
Hobo dinners. Yeah, me and Elijah are huge fans of hobo dinners.
Yeah, and that should work for Nancy. She could just leave the meat out of it, or put in some of her Beyond Meat
for people
or whatever.
who don't know, hobo dinner is I think we've talked about this before, but you take
thick tin
foil. You put some spray on it or rub some butter on some margarine on it.
Yep.
You drop in whatever you have around you. I like to use sausage, ground sausage, but you can use ground beef. You put some kind of meat in there, and then you drop whatever you have around you. Onion, potato, green pepper, or bell pepper.
Carrots if you want.
Whatever you want. You can drop in some... a lot of times we use cream of mushroom soup. You can use any type of soup, really. Or if you don't want to put any soup in there, you can put in like just a sauce, like a Worcestershire sauce or
just
hot sauce, whatever.
Just season it however you want.
Just throw it on the fire for a while. Flip it.
Seal up the tin foil. Bake it into a little hot pocket.
Airtight
tin foil hot pocket. Yeah.
Airtight pouch.
Yeah. Throw it in the fire or just off to the side by the fire.
Well, you want it on the coals
or whatever part. Yeah, not
Mm.
directly in the fire, but
leave it for about 20 minutes, come back, flip it over, leave it another 20 minutes, come back, all the meat is cooked.
Yep.
You just eat that, and it's, if you do it like while you're at home, you can do it while you're at home.
Yeah.
It just isn't as good because you're not as cold and hungry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It always turns better.
It's so much better. It's like the most delicious thing you've ever had, but you can't recreate it at home.
Yeah, but that's an easy go-to meal that should work for Nancy and you guys.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely do that. We do that all. The funny thing was I showed Elijah was never in the Boy Scouts, so he didn't know what these were, and I told him about them. He said, well, "That sounds gross." What? Well, we tried it. And he's like, "This is delicious." So the next year we're gonna do our cold weather camping trip, and we're driving around. We see a homeless guy. He goes, "I'll bet that guy could tell us how to make a hobo dinner." I'm like, God, Elijah.
You could ask him. He probably won't have any idea what you're talking
That
about.
guy could
unless
give us
he was
some
a Boy
tips.
Scout.
Yeah, he could give us some tips.
Yeah. That's probably what you need to do is go look in the old Boy Scout manuals or whatever and find the recipes that were in there, because those always worked great for camping.
Yeah.
And I don't remember eating anything that sucked in
Yeah.
Boy Scouts. Everything was good cooking on the fire.
Yeah.
Though. I mean, I shouldn't say everything wasn't on the fire. We had those little propane stovetops too that we cooked on all the time. So it was just like cooking at home, but you could have the fire too.
Yeah.
So whatever. But I think that's an easy go-to, and you could probably do that for most every meal. I mean,
Yeah.
you could put eggs in there.
Oh,
and sausage and
we've
whatever.
done
Boom.
eggs. The one thing that sucks about putting eggs in there is you get about half the egg. The other half of the egg kind of sticks to the tin foil.
I got you.
When you
Okay.
open it up, and
Yeah.
even if you put the cooking spray or the butter or whatever
It's
on the
just
tin foil,
bound to
it just
stick on there.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't know. I think your meal planning should be reasonably easy. I thought Nancy kind of tended to pack her own.
Yeah,
stuff.
she
She knows
often
what she
does.
needs to eat, so
Yeah.
it's hard to cater to.
But I think with
her
Elijah,
sometimes.
with his point of view is, well, you'll be bringing food, I'll be bringing food, and then Nancy has to bring a whole nother cooler of food. Just like, so we're kind of trying to make it so we got to bring a lot less shit.
Yeah, it would be easier if Nancy just ate meat.
Yeah,
And
would
then-
be.
Maybe convince her that.
Yeah.
Meat tastes pretty good, and it'll keep her from biting noses. And I'm Adam.
All right. Yeah, so I guess we're finished
Unless
up.
you got more, I don't know.
Guess we're finished up for
All right.
Comic Can Coozie. I'm Cole.
And I'm still Adam.
Okay.